You know, I'd like to cover the Standing Rock issue here. I made a video a couple days ago, but it's time that I update and rediscuss this at a very crucial time in our country's history and the world's history. It may seem like small potatoes to a lot of people. Oh boy, some people protesting an oil pipeline, holding up progress. You know, I feel as if this is one of the crucial times when people need to realize why people are there, why they're defining themselves as water protectors and not protesters, and how the division is used to keep people opposed to them and making them look as if they're troublemakers or as if they're violent or causing problems. Right now I'm making this because in a few days, over 2,000 troops, should I say over 2,000 veterans, are going to go to Standing Rock. Now, I believe there are 2,100 that have signed up to go or said that they're going, and there may be more. It doesn't mean that every one of them is going to show up, but in the next few days there are going to be a lot of people descending on Standing Rock to stand with the protesters and basically used as human shields, if you will, to protect the people. And when the soldiers were asked, many of them said what you would expect to say, that they signed up to protect this country from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And the minute that the police started using the tactics that they did, they became an enemy. Now, they're supposed to be coming, I believe, on the 4th or the 5th. One lady, Angie Sechrist, she was talking, she's the head of the Oklahoma chapter. There's 25 people from Oklahoma going, and they're just one small sect of the entire group. But they have a GoFundMe page for these troops. They've already raised $600,000 of their $750,000 goal. The future is now. This is how we do things. We help each other. We try to back each other up, whether it be through finances, through words, just through, showing our support of people who are trying to stand up for the rights of everyone. Now, oil, I understand that oil is a lifeblood of our economy. Unfortunately, it's damaging to our environment, but on more than that, the people aren't really seeing much in the way of returns from this when they use eminent domain to take over someone's land or to run the pipeline through a place where they shouldn't. So let's just set aside the idea of where the pipeline is or whether the Native Americans actually have the land that the pipeline's on or not. Protecting the water is crucial. If you run out of gas for your car doesn't run. But if you run out of clean drinking water, then you die. And these are very simple, well-known, obvious points that are easy to scoff at and push to the backside by saying, well, the pipeline's going to happen anyway. There have been tactics used in this country and around the world to keep people divided for centuries. Simple tactics, arguing over petty things. I could go on about all the different things that we argue upon. It usually has to do with politics, left or right wing. And I have a few things that I'd like to share here that I took some notes. This is from one of the troops who, when he was asked, one of the veterans, why he was going. He says, on his motivation, he says, I think a lot of veterans share my feelings with these last couple of wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, that we got cheated. We were lied to from our government. And we went and we fought a war based on a lie. So a lot of our guys are feeling that our service really was for nothing. And so now we're going out there because this is what we signed up for. This is where our passion is. This is what we signed up to defend, are the people here in our country against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And right now, I love my government, I love my country, but the government is kind of cracking down on peaceful protesters, and it broke my heart to watch these people being sprayed with water in 25-degree temperatures. That's inhumane, that's unethical, that's un-American. And when he was asked about this action potentially provoking more problems at Standing Rock, he says, me, personally, I don't believe this would be provoking any problem. It's taken a lot from myself to make the decision to go to Standing Rock and be completely peaceful and nonviolent, no matter what happens. I know there's a lot of veterans out there that are not going because they can't watch American citizens being beat, or their fellow veterans being beaten, or shot with rubber bullets, and remain peaceful. So hopefully, this is a big group of veterans going, and we can keep it completely peaceful. If the law enforcement decides they want to enforce and use force, so be it. I'll take my lickings. I've taken them before. But this isn't about me. This is about doing the right thing. And I really want the American people to understand there's a bitterness towards the veterans because we were used in such a horrible manner in the Iraq, and Afghanistan wars. But this is what we signed up for. If there's any danger in presenting itself to the American people, we will put ourselves in between that danger. And what he says, this isn't about me, this is about drinking water. That's it. That's a crucial element right there. It's not about the individuals. It's not about, look at us, we're Native Americans, or look at us, we're different or better, or we have, this is about the subject, not about the people. These people are willing to stand up for what we all should be standing up for. I took note of a couple of these divisions as I was saying the things that are used to divide us. The liberal left will not speak up for the conservative right. Right wing will not speak up for the left wing. The economic elite will not speak up for the economically disadvantaged, and vice versa. The ranchers will not speak up for the environmentalists, and the environmentalists will not speak up for the ranchers. The Democrats will not criticize endless wars, drone killings, militarized police, and private prisons when sanctioned by their candidate, and the same goes for the Republicans. And this is basically where we stand right now. Anything that can be used to divide the people will be used. And I'm under the impression from what's been said, the Morton County sheriffs, these people are, they're going to have several lawsuits against them, but more than that, these people are inhumane. They are using tear gas, stun grenades, rubber bullets, water cannons, and freezing temperatures. The security force released dogs which bit several of these water protectors. They're wearing riot gear. They have armored vehicles. They're using pepper spray. And they're arresting journalists. Yes, several journalists have been shot at with rubber bullets and arrested. Many people have been very heavily wounded, but no police, as far as I know, have been heavily wounded. But even if they had, it might have been an accident or retaliation due to the tactics they were using. Now, I'm not going to say that the police are out there going crazy. I've seen the videos, and I know that they're holding back. But they're not holding back because they feel it's the right thing. They're holding back because they know that if they go too far, they will be called out. There are live, webcasts out there. People like, I just wanted to throw in Jordan, from the Young Turks. He's been covering this really well, and we're really proud of him for being able to go out there and do that and put himself on the line. And journalists are scared to go out there. A lot of people say that there's nothing Obama can do, or there's something Obama should do, and then others say, I was saying that there's nothing he can really do. There's one thing that the president could do, and that would be to go there. He may not be able to stop it. He did sign try to veto it, and he had some say in it and tried to put his input. But in the end, industry always wins over. The Morton County sheriffs, they're saying that they're going to block anyone coming in. They're blocking the supply lines now. And then they were, the retort from, the tribe was, we've got enough rice to last us 10 years. And there's a dedication here. People have a lot of supplies, and people are sending in tons of things. I just got actually in the mail today, a big load of 24 ponchos that we were going to send out there to try to protect them from rain that's coming from other humans, not from the sky. Water cannons, and goggles and things like that. Should we have to buy water protectors goggles against maize? It's ludicrous to me. But basically, anyone who is a rebel against the status quo is labeled an extremist. And then we have a lot of folks who are going along with what they're being told by thinking, well, these people are just troublemakers. How many times have I seen a protest where even friends of mine are like, oh, they should just go home and forget about it, or they're interrupting traffic, or, they're just getting in the way. Now, how many times do people have to lay down and fucking take it until we start standing up and doing something about it? Even speaking out, I'm sorry you were delayed at getting to work, I'm sorry that, people are standing up for how they feel. It's obvious that there's a massive division, not among our values, but among what we think is important because of what we're told. Our values are manufactured in large part. And winter's upon them. It just started snowing, and it's going to get worse out there. So what I would like to say is, since they have raised so much money for the veterans, I was thinking maybe a smart thing to do would be for them to bring a snowplow with them. Because now, of course, Martin County is probably saying the roads are unsafe because they're not plowed. So here come 2,000 veterans with a couple snowplows and a load of supplies. What are they going to do? Are they going to stop them? This is an interesting time, and we'll see what happens. We all share this environment and the regulations that we have, even though people say the EPA is, crap and we should abolish this and that. The real people who want organizations abolished that protect the environment are people who have a vested interest in pollution because it's a byproduct of the business they do. It costs us a little more, maybe, to protect against pollution. But let me tell you this. If you go and look back at pictures of the cities in America back in the 1920s, you think that pollution is bad now? Some people have no idea. San Francisco, back in the day, before regulations were put in place to help curb smog and emissions, a lot of folks just don't realize how bad it really was. There wasn't cleaner air a century ago. It was much worse with industry. And we put a lot of checks and balances in place to protect ourselves. And with oil pipelines, same way. But when people say it's safer than rail or it's safer than trucks, that's not the point. When a leak happens, half the time they just bury the leak. And did you know that these oil companies, they don't have an organization that comes out that's a third party to clean up their spills when they spill? They pay their own organization to supposedly clean it up, and if the spill's small enough, they just cover it up. There have been several explosions and oil pipeline leaks lately, and you can look at a map across the nation of how many issues there have been, and it's only getting worse now, because we're not just punching holes in the ground and pulling out some oil. We're hydraulically fracturing the rock underneath, which is causing all types of, not just earthquakes in areas like Oklahoma that have never seen earthquakes, but potentially polluting the groundwater supply for decades, or hundreds or thousands of years in some areas. Groundwater is a very delicate system, and when you're pumping, and there's up to 700 different chemicals that are used in fracking, but a lot of them are like benzene and some very, let's just say, not so pleasing components that you don't want in your drinking water. And then the oil, any oil pipeline that's crossing a river, obviously is a danger. What do we do? Can we stop all of them? No, but we do have to stand here strong. There's one more thing that I think was really important that I wanted to cover. I was a little distraught to read earlier a few, let's say, tweets and postings and stuff. There was a little collection of a lot of posts from the natives at Standing Rock, or at least the Native American community there that are there, praying and standing up. They've become a little upset with all the white people showing up. Now, I completely see where they're coming from. And sometimes, reading these things, they become across a little racist, and I can see how they may or may not mean it that way. But to give you an example, a couple people have said that a lot of white people are showing up, and they're treating it like it's Burning Man, and like it's a festival atmosphere, and they really don't like that. What I would like to say is, you have to realize whenever a large group comes together, there will always be some undesirable factions of that. But the fact that white people are coming there shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter if they're white. We all have this land. This is the racism that we're trying to get past. If the natives don't want whites standing with them, and I know most of them don't feel that way, that most of them are accepting and tolerant, and I see where they're coming from with some of the people who are coming. But I would like to propose a point. The Burning Man community, if that's the type of reflection you're getting from these people, the Burning Man community is a community of caring, dedicated, environmental individuals. And you might want to look into the 10 principles of Burning Man and to see where they're coming from. It's a leave no trace event. Everyone partakes. I go to my regional Burning Man every year, and everyone helps each other, they care for each other, they protect the environment, and we leave everything nicer than we found it. If Burning Man type people are being attracted to Standing Rock, that wouldn't surprise me in the least. But rather than seeing that as a festival, Burning Man is something different. It's a celebration of everything, and in the evening, you can imagine, in a place like Standing Rock, that there are going to be some people partying, having a little fun maybe, trying to take the edge off. And perhaps the white community doesn't sit and pray the same way that the natives do. I just want everyone to know that all the people there are there in freezing fucking cold weather, and they're all there because they care. Nobody's going out there to party and have a festival. I'm sure a few people have joined in because they just want to be part of something, and let it be. Just realize having all the people there is what keeps the cops from moving in and just wiping it clean and starting over. And I hate to put it this way, but there is racism. And if it were just the native tribes down there, then I have the feeling that they may have been pushed out sooner. And having the troops there, or at least the veterans, hopefully will lend even a more power. And I want to see all those people come together as a group. It's do what you can, speak what you can, try to share with whoever you can, and let everybody know that it's important, because it's a principle issue. It's not just about stopping it. I understand both sides of the coin. I see that there are certain rights in place from the oil companies, that they've done the paperwork. It doesn't matter. This is an issue of the future, because it's not just this pipeline. It's several pipelines that are going to appear over the years. I'd like to leave you with a quote from Benjamin Franklin. "We must, indeed, all hang together, or assuredly, we will all hang separately."